The family court judge asked me if I had any evidence my wife was endangering our children, and I pulled out a thumb drive containing 47 days of security footage showing our married next-door neighbor entering my house an average of 4 times per week while I was at work. And that was before I showed her the text where my wife told our 7-year-olds to practice calling Brian Daddy. If you've got some time and maybe something to drink, settle in. This one's a ride. So why did I wait 47 days to do anything about it? Good question. I'll get there. 3 months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. Perfect suburban life in Riverside Hills. You know the type of neighborhood. HOA that sends passive-aggressive letters if your grass is half an inch too tall. Next door app wars about whose dog is barking at 7 a.m. Families waving at each other while secretly judging everyone's landscaping choices. My wife Rachel and I owned a 4-bedroom colonial we bought in 2018 for way too much money. Monthly mortgage sitting at $2,400 that made me wince every time I saw the bank statement. We had 7-year-old twins, Ethan and Emma, a golden retriever named Biscuit who ate everything that wasn't nailed down, and a backyard with one of those wooden fences that separated our property from our neighbors. Just 6 feet of cedar planks between our family and Brian Kowalski's. I thought we were happy. I was wrong about a lot of things. Rachel and I met at Ohio State, both business majors, both thinking we'd conquer the corporate world. She was the girl who organized study groups and color-coded her notes, and I was the guy who showed up on time and did exactly what was required. No more, no less. We got married young, 25, because that's what you did when you found someone who seemed to fit. After the twins were born, Rachel switched gears completely. Went from corporate marketing making decent money to part-time yoga instructor making basically nothing. She said she wanted to be present for the kids, wanted to be the mom who volunteered for every field trip and knew every kid's name at pickup. I supported it. I always supported her. Me? I'm Thomas Reynolds, 36, hospital administrator at Mercy General. It's the kind of job where you deal with scheduling nightmares, HR complaints, and budget overruns all day. Then come home wanting absolutely zero conflict. I worked 50-plus hours most weeks, sometimes 60 during flu season, or when we were short-staffed. Rachel handled the kids, the house, the life stuff. We had a system. It worked, or I thought it did. Our marriage wasn't perfect. Whose is? Sex life was basically non-existent. Maybe once a month if we were both awake and not completely exhausted, which was rare. We'd tried to talk about it a few times, but the conversations always ended with, "We're just tired, and things will get better when the kids are older." Last real vacation we took was 14 months ago, Disney World. Spent way too much money watching our kids have the time of their lives, while Rachel and I moved through the park like polite strangers. I told myself that was normal, that all marriages went through phases. The kids were everything to me. Ethan, quiet and serious, already building Lego structures that looked like actual engineering projects. Emma, loud and dramatic, the kind of kid who turned every dinner into a performance. I woke them up at 6:30 every morning, made breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes on weekends became our tradition. I walked them to the bus stop, kissed their heads, watched the bus disappear around the corner before I left for work. At night, I read to them. Every single night. Even when I was dead on my feet after a 12-hour shift. 2 books each, their choice, no shortcuts. My biggest fear, that I was working so much they'd forget my face, that I'd become the dad who paid the bills but missed the life. I thought time was something I could make up later. I was wrong about that too. Brian moved in next door 18 months ago, right after his divorce. Early October 2022, moving trucks showed up on a Saturday, and I went over to introduce myself like neighbors do. He was 38, worked in pharmaceutical sales, had 2 kids, Tyler, 8, and Sophia, 7. Same ages as ours, which seemed like fate. His ex-wife Melissa had moved 3 states away to Georgia after the divorce, so Brian had the kids every other week. He seemed like a good guy, charming, easy to talk to, the kind of dad who was always suggesting barbecues and talking about his boat and making everything look effortless. I liked him. Finally, another dad who got it. Another guy drowning in single parenting half the time, but smiling through it. That fall, we split the cost of repairing the fence between our yards. $800 each. I paid my half immediately because that's what you do. Brian joked that now our kids could yell over the fence at each other instead of running through the front doors. We laughed. I shook his hand. Looking back, I can see the exact moment I handed her the keys to blow up my life. I just thought I was being a good neighbor. Rachel and Brian started carpooling the kids to school. Made sense. I worked early shifts a lot, 7 to 7 sometimes, and Brian's schedule was flexible. Sales, make your own hours. They'd pile all 4 kids into one car, trade off driving weeks. Rachel started mentioning him more, casual stuff. Brian says the trampoline at Costco is on sale. Brian's kids love this new show. Brian thinks we should all go to the lake this summer. I didn't think much of it. She needed friends. She was home all day with kids and yoga moms. Of course she'd talk to the neighbor. Then little things started changing. Rachel bought new workout clothes, expensive Lululemon stuff that made me raise an eyebrow at the credit card statement. Started doing her hair differently, wearing makeup to yoga classes. I noticed she was on her phone more, smiling at texts, tilting the screen away when I walked by. The twins talked about Brian constantly. Brian has a trampoline. Brian lets us have soda. Brian's house has a pool. I felt something. Jealousy maybe, insecurity. But I pushed it down because I'm not that guy. I trust my wife. I trust people. That's what I told myself. One Thursday in March, I came home early from work. Rare occurrence. Some meeting got canceled. Walked in at 2 in the afternoon and found Brian sitting at my kitchen table drinking coffee with Rachel. They both looked up, surprised. Not guilty, just surprised. Hey man, Brian said, easy smile. Just returning a dish from that casserole Rachel brought over last week. Got talking. Rachel nodded. Yeah, we were just chatting about the kids' field trip. Totally reasonable, totally normal. I said hi, grabbed some water, went upstairs to change. Pushed down the weird feeling in my gut. That night, Rachel picked a fight about money. Said I was too controlling about finances. That she felt like she had to ask permission to buy anything. I wasn't controlling. I just kept a spreadsheet of expenses because I'm an administrator and that's what I do. But I apologized anyway. Told her she could spend whatever she needed. Anything to avoid conflict. A few days later, she made a request. Can you text before coming home early? You startled me today when you walked in. I agreed. Thought I was being considerate. I was making it easier for them. The red flags were everywhere. I ignored every single one. Late April, my work announced some security upgrade thing. Annual training on workplace safety, cameras in parking lots, all that corporate stuff. During the training, one of my colleagues mentioned she'd installed home security cameras after someone broke into a car on her street. Got me thinking. We'd had a few package thefts in the neighborhood. Someone's car got broken into the month before. I mentioned it to Rachel that night. Maybe we should get one of those doorbell cameras, I said. Just for packages. She looked uncomfortable. Do we really need cameras? Feels kind of paranoid. That reaction should have told me everything. But I'm an idiot, so I just thought she was worried about the cost. I bought them anyway. Impulse purchase at Best Buy on a Saturday morning. Ring doorbell camera for $99. One indoor camera for the living room for $49. Installed them that afternoon while Rachel took the kids to the park. When she got back and saw them, her face went tight. I thought we were going to discuss it first. It's just the front door, I said. No big deal for the package thieves. She dropped it, but she was tense for days, quiet, distant. I thought I'd overstepped, that I should have asked her first. I didn't realize I'd just installed the evidence that would save my children. That was May 1st. I installed those cameras to protect my family. I had no idea they'd be the thing that proved I needed to protect my kids from their mother. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday, I was sitting in the middle of the world's most boring budget meeting, arguing about whether we could afford to hire another scheduling coordinator, when my phone buzzed. Ring app notification. Someone at the front door. I almost ignored it. These things went off constantly. Amazon delivery, neighbors walking dogs, kids selling Girl Scout cookies. But something made me check. I opened the app under the conference table, volume off, the video loaded, and there was Brian Kowalski walking out of my front door at 2:47 in the afternoon, carrying something I couldn't quite make out. My daughter's stuffed elephant, I realized later. He must have picked it up off the couch. My stomach dropped. I rewound the footage. Watched him enter the house 45 minutes earlier, 2:02 p.m. Let himself in with a key. A fucking key. When did he get a key to my house? Kids were at school. Rachel should have been at her Tuesday yoga class. I switched to the indoor camera, the one in the living room. Caught 8 seconds of footage from 2:18 p.m. Rachel walking past in the background, heading toward the stairs, wearing the white robe I'd given her for Christmas. My hands started shaking. I closed the app, looked up at my boss still droning on about budget allocations. Everyone around the table looked so normal, like the world hadn't just tilted sideways. I made it through the meeting. I don't know how. Kept my phone face down, kept my face neutral, contributed when I needed to. The second it ended, I went to my car and sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the steering wheel. There's an explanation, I told myself. She was sick, came home early. He was helping with something. Fixing the sink. Borrowing something. There's a reason, but the voice in my head, the one I'd been ignoring for months, at 2 p.m, in a robe, I didn't confront her that night. Couldn't. Terrified of what the answer would be. I watched her make dinner, Taco Tuesday, the twins' favorite, laughing at something Emma said, asking me about my day like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't spent the afternoon with another man in our house while I was at work. "How was your yoga class?" I asked, casual as I could manage. "Good," she said without hesitation. "Tried some new poses. I'm going to be sore tomorrow." She lied right to my face, didn't even blink. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept reaching for my phone, checking the Ring app like it would tell me something different. It didn't. Wednesday, no alerts. Brian's car wasn't in his driveway. Must have been his custody week. Thursday, another alert. 1:34 p.m. Brian entering my house, staying for 97 minutes. I left work early, told my boss I felt sick, which wasn't exactly a lie. Drove home in a fog, got there at 3:50. Brian's truck was gone. Rachel was in the living room folding laundry, Biscuit asleep at her feet. "Hey, babe." She looked up, smiled. "You're home early. Everything okay?" "Yeah," I lied. "Just a slow day." That night, I slept in the guest room. Told her I was congested, didn't want to keep her awake. She accepted it without question. I lay there in the dark, listening to the house settle, feeling like I was living in someone else's life. Friday morning, I called my brother Jake. He's military vet, 3 tours in Afghanistan, doesn't have patience for bullshit, never particularly liked Rachel actually, which used to annoy me. Now I wondered what he'd seen that I missed. "Brian from next door is fucking my wife," I said without preamble. Silence on the other end, then, "Jesus Christ, Tommy, you sure? Security cameras. He's been going into my house while I'm at work. I watched him. How long? I don't know. Couple months? Maybe longer. I just installed the cameras 2 weeks ago." Jake swore. "What are you gonna do?" "I don't know." "That's not good enough. You need to..." "Jake, I don't know, okay?" My voice cracked. "I don't know anything right now." "Okay. Okay." He took a breath. "Listen to me. You need proof before you do anything. Real proof. Download everything. Document everything. Get a lawyer. And for God's sake, don't confront her until you have a plan. What if I'm wrong? Then you apologize and go to marriage counseling. But Tommy, you're not wrong. I wasn't wrong. I spent that weekend building a case like I was preparing a hospital audit. Created a spreadsheet, date, time. Brian entered, duration, Rachel's claimed schedule. Downloaded all the Ring footage from the past 30 days. Counted 17 visits in 14 days. Average duration, 90 minutes. One visit on May 4th. Brian didn't leave until 4:45, 15 minutes before the kids' bus dropped them off. I pulled our phone bill records. I pay that bill, have access to the account. Found Brian's number in my phone from the neighborhood group chat. Searched the records. 312 texts between Rachel and Brian in April alone. 47 calls, most during work hours. Several late-night calls lasting 30 to 60 minutes, probably after I fell asleep. Checked our credit card statements. Found charges I'd missed before because I was too trusting, too stupid. $347 at Victoria's Secret in late March. Rachel said she was treating herself. $89 at a wine bar in the next town, over on April 12th. The night she said she was at yoga. $45 at a hotel breakfast buffet on April 20th, when I was working an overnight shift. They weren't just having sex in my house. They were dating, going out, acting like a couple while I paid the bills and raised the kids. I sat there Saturday night after the twins went to bed, looking at rows of data on my laptop screen, and something inside me just broke. Or maybe it finally woke up. Hard to tell the difference. Saturday afternoon, I took the twins to the park. Needed to get out of the house. Needed to be away from Rachel. Pushed them on the swings, watched them go down the slide. Felt like I was moving through water. Emma ran up to me, breathless. "Daddy, can we have a play date with Tyler and Sophia again soon?" "Sure, sweetie, maybe next week." "Can we go to Brian's house? He has the coolest trampoline." Something in my chest tightened. "You guys go to Brian's house?" "Yeah," Emma grinned. "All the time. Mom takes us there when you're at work." Ethan jogged over, quieter than his sister, like always. "Mom says Brian might move in with us someday." Everything stopped. The playground sounds faded. I crouched down to their level, kept my voice careful, calm. "Did Mom say that?" Both kids nodded. "Emma, she said you work too much and Brian would be a better dad because he's always home." I thought I'd felt pain before. Broken bones, kidney stones, the grief when my dad died. Nothing compared to hearing my 7-year-old daughter repeat those words. Words my wife had put in her head. "When did she say that?" I managed. Ethan shrugged. "Last week, when we had a sleepover at Brian's house." "Wait," I stood up, tried to process. "You slept at Brian's house?" "Yeah." Emma grabbed my hand. "It was so fun. We watched movies and ate pizza and made a blanket fort and..." "Was Mommy there?" "Yeah." "Did Daddy know about this sleepover?" Ethan shook his head. "Mom said it was a surprise. She said we're practicing being a new family." I drove home on autopilot. The twins chattered in the back seat about the park, about school, about some TV show they wanted to watch. I heard none of it. Those words looped in my head. Practicing being a new family. Practicing being a new family. She wasn't just cheating. She was actively replacing me. Auditioning my replacement with my children. That night, Rachel went to a friend's bachelorette party. Probably with Brian. I didn't ask. After she left, I sat in the twins' room, watched them sleep. Emma sprawled everywhere like she always did. Ethan curled up tight, thumb near his mouth, even though he'd stopped sucking it 2 years ago. I thought about Rachel telling them I wasn't good enough, teaching them to love someone else, trying to erase me from my own family. I went to my office, pulled up my laptop, searched, emergency custody, parental alienation, evidence for custody hearing, father's rights custody battle. Read for 3 hours. Horror stories, mostly. Fathers who lost everything, who got every other weekend, while the mother moved the kids halfway across the country. But also, clear legal grounds if you could prove endangerment or alienation. I remembered Brian's divorce, something his ex-wife Melissa had mentioned once at a neighborhood barbecue, back before everything. Something about the divorce being ugly, about custody arrangements that heavily favored her. Why would she move 3 states away if Brian was such a great dad? Sunday morning, Jake texted me. "How you holding up?" "I need a lawyer," I typed back. "A good one." 3 minutes later, "Patricia Caldwell, family law. She's a shark. I'll text you her number. Call her Monday." I called her Sunday afternoon instead. Couldn't wait. She answered on the second ring, voice sharp and professional even on a weekend. I talked for 97 minutes. Laid it all out, the cameras, the texts, the phone records, the charges, what the kids said. Everything. Patricia listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "Mr. Reynolds, do you want to win custody of your children?" "Yes." "Do you want to destroy your wife's credibility in court?" I hesitated. Then, "I want to protect my kids." Same thing in this case. Here's what we do. Do not confront your wife yet. Keep downloading footage. I need proof of parental alienation in writing if possible. Texts, recordings, anything. If she takes those kids to his house again without your permission, we file for emergency custody immediately. With what you have, if she's dumb enough to do it again, we'll win. But it's going to get ugly. Are you ready for that? I thought about Emma saying, "Better dad." Thought about them sleeping at Brian's house, being told it was practice. I'm ready. I wasn't, not even close. But I was done being the man who looked the other way. Thursday, May 25th. I had a scheduled 12-hour shift, 7 to 7. Long day. Rachel texted me at 9 that morning. "Taking the kids to that new trampoline park today. They've been begging. Won't be home till dinner." I stared at that message for a solid minute. The casual lie, the emoji, the complete confidence that I'd never question it. Sounds fun, I type back. Send pics. I had the Ring app open all day. 10:47 a.m. alert. Brian's truck pulled into my driveway. I watched on my phone as Rachel and the twins walked out of the house, climbed into his truck. All of them just drove away. Heading to his place, I knew. I knew exactly where they were going. I couldn't focus on work. Kept checking the cameras, checking my phone. At 2 p.m., I texted Rachel. "How's the trampoline park?" "Great. Kids are exhausted, lol." She sent a selfie of the twins, faces squished together, smiling. Couldn't tell the location from the background. I called Patricia. She took them to his house. "Do you have proof they're at his address?" "I saw them leave in his truck." "Not enough. We need her to admit it, or someone to witness them there." I made a decision, called in sick to work, first time in 2 years. Drove to Brian's neighborhood, 12 minutes away. Parked down the street at 3:45. Brian's truck in the driveway, no other cars. I walked past the house, pretending to jog. Heard kids laughing in the backyard. Looked through a gap in the fence. My children, my twins. Jumping on Brian's trampoline. Rachel sitting on a patio chair with Brian, wine glasses on the table between them. Watching my kids play in his yard like they were one big happy family. Rachel laughed at something Brian said, touched his arm. She looked happy. Happier than I'd seen her in years. I walked back to my car, hands shaking so bad I could barely get the key in the ignition. Called Rachel. "Hey," she answered, bright and cheerful, laughing still in the background. "What's up? When are you guys heading home?" "Probably in an hour or so. Traffic was bad earlier." "Traffic where?" Pause. "From the trampoline park. Why?" "What's the name of that park again?" "Why are you interrogating me?" Irritation creeping in now. "Just curious. The kids might want to go again. Sky Zone, it's off Highway 40. I'd never felt rage like this. Cold and clear and absolute. Weird, because I'm sitting outside Brian's house right now and I can hear our children in his backyard. Silence. Complete silence. I could hear her breathing. "Thomas, I can explain." "Don't come home tonight." "What?" "Take the kids to your mom's. I need space. I'll see them tomorrow." I hung up before she could respond. Drove to an empty grocery store parking lot. Sat there in my car and completely fell apart. Sobbed like I hadn't since I was a kid. Great heaving sobs that shook my whole body. First time I'd cried in 5 years. Texted Jake. I saw them. At his house. She lied to my face. She took my kids there. "Come to my place. Now. Don't be alone." 40-minute drive to Jake's apartment. Got there around 6. He opened a beer, handed it to me, let me rant. She took my kids to his house, my kids, to practice being a family with him. Jake nodded. Let me get it out. "How long has she been lying? How do I explain this to Ethan and Emma?" "You don't explain shit yet," Jake said. "You win custody first. Then you tell them the truth when they're old enough to understand. I don't want to hurt them. She's already hurting them. You're protecting them. There's a difference." My phone blew up all night. 23 texts from Rachel. "Thomas, please, let me explain. It's not what you think. I'm bringing the kids home tomorrow. We need to talk." I responded to none of them. Slept on Jake's couch. Or tried to. Mostly stared at the ceiling, thinking about everything I'd missed, every sign I'd ignored. Something in me died that night. The man who avoided conflict, who kept the peace, who trusted everyone. He was gone. The man who woke up on Jake's couch the next morning was someone else entirely. Friday, 6 a.m., emergency appointment with Patricia. Showed up at her office with printed evidence. 47 pages of Ring camera, timestamps, and screenshots. Phone bill records showing 312 texts and 47 calls. Credit card statements circled in red, handwritten notes from my conversation with the twins. Patricia reviewed everything at her desk, speed reading like she was trying to beat a clock. "This is very, very good, but we need more." "What more could you possibly need?" "We need to prove she's unfit or endangering them. Right now, this is adultery and poor judgment. We need parental alienation proof in writing, or proof she's exposing them to unsafe situations." "Brian has a DUI from 2 years ago." Patricia looked up. "Tell me more." "His ex-wife mentioned it once. I didn't think much of it at the time. I'll pull records. If he drove those kids with a DUI on his record, even an old one, we can argue impaired judgment. She made a note. Here's the plan. You go home, act semi-normal, don't file yet. We wait. If she takes the kids there again, and she will, she's overconfident. We document it, and we file for emergency custody immediately. Meanwhile, I'm preparing all preliminary paperwork. Can we win? With this evidence, yes. But, Mr. Reynolds, this is going to destroy your wife in court. It's going to be public. Your kids are going to be confused and hurt. Are you absolutely certain? I thought about Emma's voice. Brian would be a better dad. I'm certain. Rachel brought the kids home Friday afternoon. Tried to act normal, make dinner, pretend everything was fine. I was cold, ice cold. The twins picked up on it. Daddy, are you mad? Emma asked at dinner. No, sweetie, just tired from work. That night, Rachel tried to corner me in the kitchen. Thomas, can we please talk? Not now. Kids can hear. When? I don't know. I need time to think. Are you going to leave me? I looked at her. Really looked at her. Saw a stranger? I don't know. She looked panicked. Good. I moved into the guest room. Told her I needed space. Next few days were a cold war. I maintained normal routine with the kids. Breakfast, bus stop, bedtime stories. Rachel tried multiple times to explain. I shut her down every time. We'll talk when I'm ready. Meanwhile, I was documenting everything. Every text she sent me got screenshotted. All ring footage backed up to 3 separate hard drives. I started recording our conversations. Checked. We're in a one-party consent state, perfectly legal. Memorial Day weekend. Time to build my case properly. First, I called Margaret Chen. Retired teacher, lives across the street, 68. The kind of neighbor who sees everything. Sweet lady. Brought cookies to the kids every Christmas. Margaret, I need to ask you something. Have you noticed Brian coming to my house during the day? Long pause. Yes. I wasn't sure if I should say anything, Thomas. How often? Multiple times a week, for months. Thomas, I'm so sorry. My grip tightened on the phone. Would you be willing to write down what you saw? Dates, times, if you remember them? Of course. And Thomas? I saw Rachel and Brian kissing in your driveway. April 14th, around 2 p.m. I have the date because it was my granddaughter's birthday. I was coming back from the store with her cake. I felt sick. Thank you, Margaret. That helps more than you know. Next call, harder one. I'd found Brian's ex-wife Melissa on Facebook, sent her a message. I'm Thomas, your ex-husband's neighbor. I need to ask you about Brian's history with the kids. She called me within an hour. Oh my God, she said instead of hello. Is he sleeping with your wife? Yes. I should have warned you. He had an affair during our marriage too, with a neighbor. That's why we divorced. That's why I moved to Georgia. Couldn't stand living near them. The DUI, I said. Can you tell me about that? He got it while Tyler and Sophia were in the car. They were fine, thank God, but CPS was involved. It's sealed now because it was his first offense and he did the program, but I have all the paperwork still. Would you be willing to testify about his judgment with kids? Absolutely, fuck Brian. I'll take time off work and fly there if you need me to. I spent Memorial Day Monday going through our finances like I was auditing a hospital department. Found what I was looking for. Rachel had withdrawn $40 to $100 in cash over 3 months. Small ATM withdrawals, $200, $300 at a time. Easy to miss if you weren't looking. Credit card charges at restaurants I'd never been to. Dates with Brian while I was at work. Then, the big discovery. A credit card I didn't know about. Separate account, in her name only. Found the statement in her yoga bag when she was in the shower. $2,800 charged. Victoria's Secret, Nordstrom, wine bars, nice restaurants. She was financing her affair with marital money. Photographed everything. Sent it to Patricia. Also checked her browser history on our shared laptop. She hadn't cleared it. Search terms from 2 weeks ago. How to leave your husband? Can I move kids to another state without permission? Father's rights in custody. She was planning to leave, planning to take my kids, screenshot everything, sent it all to Patricia. Patricia's text back, she's planning to bolt with your children. We need to file immediately. But I had one more play. Wednesday, May 31st, I texted Rachel, pretended to warm up. I'm sorry I've been distant. Work has been stressful. Can we try to talk this weekend? Her response was almost instant. Yes, I'd love that. I miss you. I think I need to work this Saturday to catch up. Would you mind keeping the kids busy? Of course. I'll take them somewhere fun. I knew what that meant. She'd take them to Brian's. It was her pattern. Every time I worked long shifts. Friday, June 2nd. Confirmed with Rachel I was working Saturday, 8 to 6. No problem. Kids and I will have a fun day, texted Patricia. It's happening tomorrow. I'll have papers ready. The second you have proof, we file. Judge will issue emergency hearing within 48 hours. I didn't sleep that night. Lay in the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, alternating between rage and terror. What if I was wrong? What if this destroyed my kids? What if... No, I'd seen the evidence. I'd heard my daughter say those words. I knew what I had to do. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tomorrow, I stop being a victim. Saturday, June 3rd, the day I filed for emergency custody of my children, 6:30 a.m., I left for work. Kissed the twins goodbye in their beds, still sleeping. Love you, Daddy, Emma mumbled. Rachel walked me to the door, tried to kiss me. I gave her my cheek. Have a good day, she said. You too. That was the last time she'd ever play me for a fool. I drove to Jake's, set up surveillance on his laptop. 8:45 a.m., ring notification. Brian's truck in my driveway. Watched the footage. Rachel and the twins walked out of the house. Brian's 2 kids were already in the truck. All 6 of them loaded up and drove away. They played house in my house, and now they were taking my kids to his, called Patricia. She just left with them, heading to his place. Give it 30 minutes, confirm location. I'm filing now. 9:30, drove to Brian's neighborhood. Different parking spot this time, 2 houses down. Walked past his house like I was on a phone call. His truck in the driveway. Looked through the fence, all 4 kids on his trampoline. Rachel and Brian on the patio couch, sitting close, his hand on her thigh. I took photos, 10, 15 photos, then pulled out my phone, recorded video, 2 minutes of footage, clear audio of kids laughing, Rachel calling, "Be careful, Emma," Brian saying, "They're fine, babe." Babe. He called my wife babe while my kids jumped on his trampoline. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. Walked back to my car, texted Patricia photos. Perfect, filing in 1 hour. Emergency hearing Monday 9 a.m. She'll be served by 2 p.m. today. 11 a.m., Patricia filed the emergency custody motion. 87 pages of evidence, exhibits A through Q, ring camera footage, phone records, financial records, witness statements from Margaret and Melissa, the DUI record Patricia had pulled, the texts from the kids about practicing being a new family, requested emergency temporary custody to me, supervised visitation for Rachel, restraining order preventing Rachel from taking kids to Brian's house. The judge reviewed it, expedited process for emergency custody when children's welfare is at stake, granted emergency hearing for Monday 9 a.m., 1:47 p.m. I was still parked near Brian's house, couldn't leave, couldn't stop watching. The process server arrived. I watched him knock on the door. Brian answered. Server asked for Rachel Reynolds. She came to the door, confused, got handed a thick envelope. I watched her face change as she read, watched her go white, saw her mouth open. She started yelling something. Couldn't hear from where I was, but I could see it. Brian took the papers, started reading. Both of them went back inside. The kids came in from the backyard a few minutes later, clearly confused. My phone started blowing up. 12 missed calls in 5 minutes. I didn't answer. Patricia had been clear. All communication through lawyers now. I listened to the voicemails later that night. Shouldn't have, but I couldn't help it. Thomas, what the fuck? You filed for custody? You can't do this. Please call me. Please. This is insane. You're taking my babies away from me. How could you? You're doing this because you're jealous of Brian. This is about your ego. My lawyer says you're lying. You're making this all up. I'll prove it in court. The texts were worse. Dozens of them. This is insane. I'm their mother. You're traumatizing them by doing this. I'll never forgive you. I forwarded everything to Patricia. Evidence of instability. 4 p.m. Call from Rachel's mother, Diane. Always liked me, actually. Nice woman. Not her fault her daughter was... Thomas, what's going on? Rachel is hysterical. Diane, I'm sorry you're in the middle of this. Rachel can explain. I can't talk about it. She says you're taking the kids. Is that true? There's a custody hearing Monday. The court will decide. I have to go. Hung up. Felt oddly numb. Jake was watching me. How you feeling? I don't know. I thought I'd feel powerful. Mostly I just feel tired. 7 p.m. Per Patricia's instructions, I picked up the kids from Rachel at the police station parking lot. Neutral location, officers around if things got heated. I got there first, waited in my car. Rachel pulled up alone 5 minutes later. No, Brian, smart move. The twins climbed out of her car, ran to me. Daddy! I hugged them. Hey guys, did you have fun today? We went to Brian's. It was so fun. Emma bouncing. Rachel approached, red-eyed, makeup smeared. Thomas, please, can we talk? Just 5 minutes. I looked at the twins. Hey guys, get in Daddy's car. I'll be right there. They climbed in. I closed the doors so they couldn't hear. You didn't have to do this, Rachel said, voice breaking. We could have worked it out. You took them to his house. You told them to call him Dad. You were planning to replace me. I wasn't. Don't lie anymore. I have it all on camera, the texts, the calls, the money you spent on your affair. Margaret saw you kissing him in my driveway. Melissa's flying in to testify about Brian's DUI with his kids in the car. Rachel's face crumpled. You're going to ruin my life. No, you did that yourself. I'm just protecting my kids. They need their mother. I looked at her. This woman I'd loved for 11 years. This stranger. Then you should have thought about that before you fucked our neighbor and tried to turn them against me. I walked to my car, didn't look back. Inside, Emma asked, Why is Mommy crying? She's just sad right now, sweetie. It's okay. Ethan, quiet in the back seat. Are you and Mommy getting divorced? Honest answer. They deserve that much. I don't know yet, buddy, but I promise Daddy's going to take care of you no matter what. We drove home in silence. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. This was real now. There was no going back. Monday, June 5th. Family Courthouse. 8:45 a.m. Patricia met me in the hallway. You ready? No. Good. Means you understand what we're about to do. Courtroom was small. Just the judge, a court reporter, lawyers, me and Rachel. No kids, thank God. They were with Jake. Judge was a woman in her 50s, stone-faced, probably seen 1,000 of these cases. I sat at a table with Patricia, Rachel at another table with her court-appointed lawyer, a young guy who looked overwhelmed. I testified first, walked through the timeline, showed the ring footage, timestamps, dates, Brian entering and leaving my house, showed the photo from June 3rd, Rachel kissing Brian's cheek while Emma jumped on the trampoline in the background, played 1 minute of video, audio of Rachel calling Brian babe with my kids present, read the transcript of my conversation with the twins. Mom says we're practicing being a new family. Brian would be a better dad. Patricia introduced Brian's DUI record, Melissa's sworn affidavit about Brian's history of affairs and poor judgment with his children. Rachel's lawyer tried. Mr. Reynolds invaded his wife's privacy by installing cameras without her knowledge. Judge looked at him like he was an idiot. He monitored his own home counselor, overruled. Rachel testified, admitted the affair. I made a mistake, but insisted she was still a good mother, claimed she never told the kids to call Brian Dad, lied under oath, said I was controlling and absent, started crying. Please don't take my babies from me. The judge reviewed evidence for 20 minutes, longest 20 minutes of my life. Then she spoke. Temporary primary custody awarded to Thomas Reynolds. Rachel Reynolds is granted supervised visitation only, twice per week, 3 hours per session, at an approved facility. Rachel Reynolds is prohibited from having any contact between the minor children and Brian Kowalski. Mr. Kowalski is restrained from coming within 500 feet of the minor children or the marital home. Final custody hearing is scheduled 60 days from today. Rachel sobbed. Her lawyer put a hand on her shoulder. I felt nothing, empty, hollow victory. We walked out of the courthouse. Patricia touched my arm. You did the right thing. Then why doesn't it feel right? Because you're a good father. You feel your kid's pain. That's exactly why you won. By Tuesday morning, the entire neighborhood knew. Margaret Chen told her book club. They told their husbands. Someone posted on Nextdoor, "Scandal, affair between neighbors leads to custody battle." 247 comments in 18 hours. Half supported me. Quarter supported Rachel. Affairs happen. Doesn't make her a bad mom. Quarter were just gossip vultures. Someone, I suspect Jake but I'll never ask, left a sign on Brian's lawn. "Home wrecker." Brian took it down. Someone put another one up the next day. Thursday, the HOA meeting. Brian showed up, got completely iced out. Not one person would talk to him. Mark Thompson, father of 3 from 2 streets over, confronted Brian in the parking lot. I heard about it later. "You're a piece of shit. You should move." Rachel lost her yoga teaching gig. The studio owner said other moms were uncomfortable. Her hours went to 0. She lost about $1,200 a month. Not huge money, but symbolic. Brian lost 3 major accounts in his sales territory, all doctors' offices in our area. One doctor, who lived in the subdivision, told him explicitly, "We don't do business with people like you." Brian's boss put him on a performance improvement plan. I heard through the neighborhood grapevine, precursor to being fired. My coworkers at the hospital knew. Most were supportive, but I overheard a conversation in the break room. 2 female nurses. "I mean, she cheated, but full custody seems harsh. Men always take it too far." I left the break room before they saw me. Financially, everything got harder. Lawyer fees hit $15,000 and counting. I was paying all household bills alone. Had to hire after-school care since Rachel couldn't pick up the kids anymore. Started therapy, $150 a week out of pocket. But the worst part, the part that kept me up at night, Emma's nightmares started 2 weeks after the hearing. 3 nights in a row, she woke up crying. "I want mommy." I held her, stroked her hair, told her everything would be okay. But inside, I was drowning in doubt. Did I do this to her? The school counselor called on a Thursday. Emma had a panic attack during recess. She was hyperventilating, saying she misses her mom. "She sees her twice a week." "Mr. Reynolds, I understand the situation is complicated, but Emma is 7 years old. She doesn't understand why her mother can't tuck her in anymore." I felt like a monster. Saturday, supervised visitation at the Family Visitation Center. Sterile room, hard plastic chairs, supervisor in the corner taking notes. I brought the kids at 10 a.m. Rachel was already there. She looked destroyed, lost weight, hair unwashed, dark circles under her eyes like bruises. The twins ran to her. "Mommy!" She dropped to her knees, held them, sobbing. "I miss you so much. I'm so sorry." Emma pulled back, confused. "Why can't you come home?" Rachel looked at me through the observation window. "Because Daddy and I need some time apart." "Ethan, are you coming to my soccer game next week?" "I don't think I'm allowed, buddy." Ethan started crying. The supervisor intervened. "Let's do an activity. Who wants to color?" I watched from the observation room, watched my kids' hearts break in real time, watched my wife, my ex-wife, try to hold it together while her whole world crumbled. In the car afterward, Ethan asked, "Daddy, did you make Mommy go away?" I chose my words carefully. "Mommy made some choices that weren't safe for you guys. I'm trying to protect you." "I don't feel protected. I feel sad." I had no answer for that. That night, I called Patricia. "Is this worth it? They're miserable. Do you think they'd be less miserable watching her move Brian into your house? Calling him Dad while you fade into the background, wondering why Daddy doesn't love them enough to be around? No. Then you're doing the right thing. It just hurts for a while. It gets better, I promise." I wanted to believe her. July brought new routines. I cut my hours at work to 40 a week, no more overtime. Hired a part-time nanny, college student named Sarah, $18 an hour. New rhythm, breakfast together every morning. I learned to cook more than pancakes and eggs. Started making actual meals, school bus, work, pick them up by 5:30, dinner, homework, bedtime stories. Same as before, but more present, more intentional. The kids started therapy with Dr. Sarah Martinez, child psychologist. Emma opened up quickly. Drew pictures of 2 houses, one with Mommy, one with Daddy. Both houses had sad faces in the windows. Ethan was quieter, refused to talk about feelings. Dr. Martinez told me, "Give it time. He's processing in his own way." Small moments of joy started creeping back in. Ethan laughed at one of my terrible dad jokes. First real laugh in weeks. Emma asked if we could plant a garden. We spent a Saturday at Home Depot, buying seeds and soil and little starter plants. planted tomatoes and sunflowers and strawberries. Something that grows, I thought, digging in the dirt with my daughter. Something we build together. Rachel kept up her supervised visitation, showed up on time, brought coloring books and puzzles. Didn't badmouth me to the kids, which I appreciated. She looked better by mid-July, hair clean, dressed nicer, trying. I didn't ask about Brian. Patricia had advised against it. Don't give her any ammunition to say you're harassing her. I started my own therapy. Dr. Kenneth Park, hospital psychologist who worked with staff burnout. Weekly sessions, worked through trust issues, anger, guilt. You're allowed to protect your children and still feel guilty about the pain it causes, he said in our third session. Both things can be true. That helped, a little. Joined a divorce support group at a church basement. Wednesday nights, mostly parents, mostly custody battles. One woman, Stephanie, 40, shared a story almost identical to mine. Ex-husband tried parental alienation. She fought back. Won primary custody. Her kids were thriving now, 5 years later. Does the guilt go away? I asked her after group one night. No, but you learn to live with it. And eventually, your kids understand. Mine do now. They're teenagers. They get it. They thank me. We grabbed coffee sometimes after group. Not romantic, just nice to talk to someone who understood. Margaret Chen became a surrogate grandmother to the twins, brought them cookies, taught Emma to knit, played chess with Ethan. One afternoon she told me, "You did the right thing, Thomas. I know it's hard, but it's right." I started setting boundaries in other areas of my life. Told my mother, who kept asking for Rachel's side of the story, "Mom, I love you, but I'm done discussing this." Blocked Rachel's number. All communication went through the co-parenting app now, or through lawyers. Deleted social media. Too much drama. Too many opinions from people who didn't know the whole story. August 28th, final custody determination hearing. Rachel's lawyer presented her improved case. She'd completed parenting classes, started individual therapy, got a full-time office admin job, stable income, benefits. Her therapist submitted an affidavit. Rachel has shown significant growth and insight into her behavior. The big one, signed affidavit swearing she'd ended all contact with Brian, completely, forever, Rachel testified, took full responsibility, apologized. "I made terrible mistakes. I hurt my husband and confused my children. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to be their mother again, a real mother, the mother they deserve." She meant it, I could tell. My turn to testify. I acknowledged Rachel had improved, also said I was still concerned about her judgment, requested primary physical custody, but said I was willing to move to shared legal custody and expanded visitation. Patricia pulled me aside during a break. "You don't have to give an inch. We can push for supervised forever if you want." "I know, but the kids miss her, and she is trying. I can see it. You're a better person than most people going through this. I'm tired of fighting. I just want my kids to be okay." Judge's ruling came down after 90 minutes of deliberation. Primary physical custody, Thomas Reynolds. Kids live with me, joint legal custody, both parents make major decisions together, unsupervised visitation for Rachel. Every other weekend, Friday night through Sunday afternoon. 1 weeknight dinner per week. Rachel still prohibited from exposing kids to Brian Kowalski. Custody review in 6 months. Rachel nodded, mouthed, "Thank you," across the courtroom. I didn't acknowledge it, but I didn't feel triumphant either, just relieved, exhausted, ready for it to be over. September 1st. First weekend Rachel had the kids unsupervised. I drove them to her apartment. She'd moved out of the house, renting a 2-bedroom in a complex 10 minutes away. Emma was nervous. "Will you come get us if we need you?" "Of course, sweetie. Call me any time." Rachel at the door. "I'll take good care of them." "I know." 3 words. First civil exchange in months. I drove away. The house felt empty. First time I'd been alone in 4 months. Didn't know what to do with myself. Cleaned, watched TV, called Jake. "How you feeling?" he asked. "Strange, empty, I don't know." "That's normal. First weekend's always weird. Gets easier." Sunday pickup. Kids seemed okay. Told me about the movie they watched, the pizza they ate, how mom let them stay up late. Normal kid stuff. Rachel and I exchanged 3 sentences, cordial, distant, professional. Thanks for bringing them back on time, I said. Of course, they're my kids too. As I drove away with the twins chattering in the back seat, I realized this is co-parenting. It's not closure. It's not friendship. It's just the new reality. The rest of our lives, passing kids between houses, coordinating schedules, being civil for their sake. Some boundaries can't be rebuilt once they're crossed. 6 months later, February. Almost exactly 1 year since I first suspected something was wrong. Life settled into a rhythm. The twins were thriving. Ethan joined robotics club at school, building little cars that barely ran but made him so proud. Emma was doing theater camp, already announcing she wanted to be a Broadway star. I was dating someone, Michelle, 33, elementary school teacher. Nothing serious yet. The kids met her once. They seemed okay with it, asked if she was going to be their new mom. I said no, just a friend. Rachel kept her schedule, never missed a pickup, never violated the custody agreement. I heard through mutual friends she got promoted at her job, seemed stable, heard she was dating someone new, not Brian, keeping it private this time. Brian, heard about him through the neighborhood grapevine, lost his sales job, performance issues, moved out of Riverside Hills that fall. No one would talk to him, wouldn't do business with him. Last I heard, he relocated to another state. I saw on LinkedIn he took a job in Oregon. Good riddance. Divorce was finalized in December. 9 months after separation, house sold. Profit split 50-50. I bought a smaller place, 3-bedroom, 10 minutes from the kids' school. Rachel kept her car, I kept mine. Split the debt. Minimal drama, all things considered. One Saturday in February, I was in the backyard watching the twins play. Emma was practicing cartwheels. Ethan was building something with sticks and string. Happy, whole, mine. I thought about everything. The cameras, the evidence, the court battles, the nights I couldn't sleep, wondering if I was doing the right thing. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, if I regret going nuclear, the custody battle, the public exposure, burning everything down. Honest answer? Some days, yes. I see the confusion in Emma's eyes when she talks about having 2 houses. I see the way Ethan flinches when anyone mentions divorce. I see the damage I couldn't prevent, even though I tried. But then I remember what would have happened if I'd done nothing. She was teaching them I was replaceable. She was rewriting our family with me as the villain who worked too much and didn't care enough. She was practicing a new family with them, erasing me one playdate at a time. I didn't win my family back. That family is gone. The family with the white colonial and the shared dinners and the pretense of happiness, that's dead. But I saved what was left. I saved my relationship with my kids. I saved myself from becoming a weekend dad who watched from the sidelines while another man raised his children. My new house doesn't have a shared fence with anyone. Solid brick wall on one side, empty lot on the other. When I moved in, the first thing I did was install security cameras. Not because I don't trust the world, but because I've learned that some things are worth monitoring. Some boundaries are worth protecting. People think I'm paranoid now, more careful, less trusting. They're right, I am. I learned that boundaries aren't about building walls. They're about knowing what you'll accept and what you won't. Where you'll bend and where you'll break. Rachel crossed every boundary I had. And I didn't just set a new fence. I burned the whole goddamn thing down. Some people call it revenge. My brother calls it justice. My lawyer calls it protecting your children. I call it self-preservation. And you know what? I sleep fine at night now. The twins are asleep down the hall. I just checked on them. Emma sprawled everywhere like always. Ethan curled up tight. Both of them safe. Both of them mine. That's more than I can say for the man I used to be. That man would have forgiven her. Would have gone to therapy. Would have tried to fix it. Would have kept the peace. That man would have lost his kids. I'm not sorry he's gone.